Hello. So you probably heard about scholarships and you know they're free money to go to school, but is there something more to it? Is there something that you're missing? Do you know all the different types of scholarships, where to find them, and when to apply? Well, you clicked on the right video. Let's talk a little bit about it. My name is Tanika, and I am the CEO of Paid for College. We're here in this corner of the internet. We're all about helping you to avoid student loan debt. So, today we're going to be talking about all things scholarships. It's your scholarships 101, if you will, and we're going to break down everything you need to know about scholarships and what you should be aware of and how to get started. So, the first things first is we're going to break down what is a scholarship. Now, you probably say, oh, yeah, Tanika, you told me it's free money for college or for school, but scholarships is also more than that. Not only is just free money to pursue your education, but it also should be looked at is a scholarship is offered by organizations, by businesses, by corporations who really are also supporting the next generation in education, whether that be in a direct alignment with what that organization stands for, or it's a type of service. So I don't want you to just think, oh, it's just free money, it's whatever, just give it to me. No, these are scholarships that have been donated. This is money that has been donated from multiple people over a course of a year, or money set aside by businesses and organizations in order to support you in your education. So I want you to think about that more deeply when you're applying for scholarships about who wants to support me. And how are we in alignment with each other? There are scholarships for everything and everybody. So it's very important that you feel connected and you don't think, oh, there's not a scholarship for me. There is a scholarship for you. So let's talk a little bit about that. So there are three different categories of scholarships. Okay. Now, the first one that we most likely might be aware of is our need based scholarship. Now, most people think of need based aid as maybe completing that free application for federal student aid,
aka the FAFSA form.
you're aware that there might be some scholarships that require a certain income bracket, or you cannot go over a certain income, a family income. And that is going to be your need based scholarships, right? And so, need based aid is saying, hey, listen, we have scholarships for students whose family cannot pay for school over a certain amount. And so, we're going to support those students in pursuing their education. So if you're think, yeah, that's what I know, that's all I know about scholarships, well, there's two other categories that you might very much be interested in. So there is a scholarship for everyone. So if you are coming from a lower income family and you're looking for money for school, you really should be looking at your need-based scholarships. And you can also be looking for the next two types as well. The second type of scholarship that you should be aware of is called our merit based scholarship. Now, you're probably saying, oh, yes, I know merit based. And you're assuming, or you could assume, that it's going to be based on your GPA or your academic accomplishments. But what if I told you that merit based isn't just strictly based on your GPA or your test scores, but it could also be based on your leadership and your involvement? So, if you have served as president or secretary, or if you played in a sport and you were captain, or that you were involved in some type of community service. But what if I also said it also includes hobbies? So, if you're into music or the arts, or into cooking and baking, or really have a passion for advocacy and you're advocating for causes that are best, that are best aligned with you, that you really care about. All of that is merit based. So there are some scholarships that, yes, might ask you for your GPA or test scores, but there's also a slew of scholarships that are merit based that don't ask you for your GPA or test scores at all and really care about what you're doing, right? Your community service, your involvement, your leadership. And all those merit based scholarships is going to be directly towards your education. So, yes, if you are someone who's saying, well, I can't apply for need based scholarships because my family makes too much, merit based is also for you. And also, if you are a student whose family makes and less income, then guess what? You also can apply for merit-based scholarships. So merit-based scholarships as a whole, it could be based on your demographics, who you are, how you identify, all of the things that are completely related to you. If you are a military kid, or you're a child of a public servant, there's so many things. If I am left-handed, even there's scholarships for everything, and they're all merit based. The last type of scholarship that you should be aware of is our unmet needs scholarship. Now, this is a scholarship that most people do not know about at all, and it's simply because they mistake them for being one of the other types of scholarships, which is a need-based scholarship. Many will look at the description and say, oh, it's asking for demonstrate financial need, and thinking that it means it's a need-based scholarship. But let's be clear, a need-based scholarship is always going to say that it's a need-based scholarship. A merit-based scholarship is always going to say that it's a merit-based scholarship. Or again, it's going to ask for that GPA or that test score or your involvement. So you want to make sure that you are not confusing those two, and you're not confusing unmet need for any of those two either. So, what makes unmet need scholarship different? Well, your unmet need is going to say must demonstrate financial need. Okay? Again, must demonstrate financial need. This is basically asking, do you still have a balance that you need to pay? Now, that's almost everyone, correct? Because if you have a balance and you haven't been able to win all the scholarships, merit-based or need-based, or your school didn't provide a financial package that doesn't cover all of the costs, then guess what? You have demonstrated financial need, and you do need to apply for unmet need scholarships. So when you see those four words, must demonstrate financial need, say it with me, must demonstrate financial need, then yes, you know that you are eligible to apply if you have a balance. This also includes if you are thinking about, or if you've had to take out a student loan in the same year. So let's say you have taken out a student loan and you're like, well, I just need to register for classes and I only had 2 weeks. And most likely I'm not going to win a scholarship within 2 weeks. That will be accurate, and you most likely you had to make a hard decision on taking that student loan. Does that now mean that you cannot be student loan debt free? Well, I'm the first to tell you that that is not true, because I took advantage of unmet need scholarships. That demonstrated financial need, yes, I didn't have a balance no more from the school, but because I have taken out that student loan, I can use that unmet need scholarship that I won to pay off the student loan I just took out in that same year. So that is a tremendous opportunity for those of you who are saying, oh, I need to apply for more scholarships, but right now I just needed to register for classes and I had to take out the student loan. Guess what? You don't have to pay all that with your own money as well. So yes, you do have financial need. So now that we talked about all the different types of scholarships, where do we find these scholarships? Okay, where do we find a merit-based, a need-based, or an unmet need scholarship? Well, I'm glad you asked, because there are multiple answers to this. Remember when I started this video and I started to talk a little bit about scholarship organizations and those who donate to provide an opportunity for you to pursue your education? Well, this is where this comes in handy. So you want to start thinking, if I am majoring in a certain field, what associations, organizations, businesses are aligned with that major? And do they offer scholarships? This is the very first thing that you should do. Try to research organizations that might be offering a scholarship for you to apply to. And you should start locally. Now, this is where I find that most students avoid, and they end up just jumping right on Google or jumping right on the internet and start searching for scholarships. And I actually want you to start local. Your hometown, your city, your county, your state, all of that local opportunities from businesses, associations who are strictly saying, we are providing this scholarship for students who live in this county, who live in this city. who go to this particular high school. All of the different things. So I want you to start local first. This is the most overlooked opportunity for scholarships simply because most of us might not even be familiar about the organizations right in our hometown. So I want you to start digging deep. Start asking around, people asking around who are involved in cities and involved in different organizations all throughout the city. You want to start asking them, do you know of a scholarship? And am I eligible for this? You want people to know that you're looking for money. I say this all the time. It's really hard to find money when no one knows you're looking for it, right? There should be never an opportunity where you are going to school and no one knows that you're going to school and no one knows that you're looking for free money for school. So please make it known. Parent, make it known that your child is looking for scholarships. Students, make sure you contact your school counselor asking them about local scholarships. You want to make sure that you're thinking about all of this. This also includes your employee parents. So if you are a parent and you're working for an employer, you want to ask, is there anything for a scholarship for my child, or is there a tuition reimbursement that I can use for my child? All the different kind of benefits that maybe your employer has that you might not have known about. Also, as you're starting to go around, we just had Christmas and everybody was shopping, right? A lot of those same businesses that you shopped at, guess what? They offer scholarships as well. So you want to start looking, starting creating a list and start exploring that way. The second way that you can find scholarships is on a state level. Okay, so there's going to be statewide scholarships as well, which is kind of part of local. But the reason why I'm pointing this out specifically for state scholarships is because it is connected to that FAFSA form as well. So if you're a student who's staying in state, you're going to school in your state of residence, and you completed the FAFSA form, you most likely are also going to be considered for scholarships for your state for being in-state student. So you want to look at that as well because there might be separate scholarships that may be open for you, or different type of aid that might require a separate application. And the third and last one, as you already know, are the national scholarships. So this is where you do jump online. This is where you do start to reach those organizations that might not be in your local state or city or county, but also are going to be awarding students who might be based on their major or could be connected to a national organization like a Red Cross or Coca-Cola or Pepsi, if you will. So they're going to be national scholarships are going to be open for everyone in the country. Yes, that means it's going to be more competitive. And so you want to make sure that you are being wise, that you're going back. If you have not watched the Ultimate Scholarship Prep Guide video that we did last week, you want to make sure that you go and check that video out so that you can prepare to make sure that you are staying in that top percentage of consideration for scholarships. So those are all the places where you should be looking. Okay, this is where you should be finding scholarship. I also encourage you to use your local libraries as well. Your librarians can be a great help for this. But you want to really start locally first, then go to your state level, and then jump nationally. You can do a combination of all of these, and you should do a combination of all of these, but just make sure that you are spending most equal time between all three and not putting, as they say, all your eggs in one basket. When should we be applying for these scholarships? Now, you're going to be shocked when I say this, okay? So, hold on. You can start applying for scholarships as early as fifth grade. I know you probably say, wait, what? So you've been missing out on free money this whole time? Yes, but don't worry. You're here now. Let's stay present, and we're going to attack the scholarships now. So when I say that, most people have questions like, wait a minute, I can, my student can start applying for scholarships as early as fifth grade. What does that look like? Well, it most likely won't be an essay, right? But maybe it could be an art related thing. Maybe it could be an opinion that they have, or a different perspective that they might have. There's so many different types of ways for people to win money for scholarships, and that scholarship can be given to them in a check and so early, or the organization might even hold that winnings for them until they're ready to determine which school they want to go to. So, yes, you can start that early. Yes, you should start that early. And yes, you should be able to find those opportunities. Another thing to keep in mind is when to apply for scholarships is you should always apply 3 to 4 months prior to the next start of the next semester. The reason why this is key is because most scholarships open around the same times. So, winter break is another key area for scholarships to start opening. They might not be due then, but they're going to be starting to open. So, this is a good time to start researching and start looking at opportunities so early from December to January of just searching about what's going to be opening and when those deadlines are. Deadlines are going to start hitting towards mid to end of January into February and early March. Then you're going to have another wave of scholarships come in, usually around that April time frame, because it's right before college decision day, which is May 1st, and it's also right before the summer. And so this is a good time for organizations to offer these scholarships as well. Then you also have your summer wave. Your summer wave is right before the fall semester. So towards the end of summer, you're talking about your July, August time is when you're going to see some more scholarships start to open up for students to make those final balances and maybe even possible avoid taking out a student loan. Or, as we've already discussed, be offering an unmet need scholarship during this time as well to really help support students along their journeys. So, as you can see, there are different waves of opportunity for scholarships, but at the bottom line, this simply means you should be applying all year round. So, no, you don't stop applying for scholarships just because you got into your dream school, just because you're accepted your dream school, just because you're enrolled currently in your dream school. You want to be applying for scholarships the entire time. Scholarships is not just your way to get into school. Okay, so this is the model of City for College is that we don't want you just to get into school and to enroll. We want you to graduate debt free. That is the biggest difference. We want you to go through all 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, however long that program is, in order for you to graduate with less crippling student loan debt. Okay, so that means yes, you're going to have to apply all through the year. And yes, that might sound taxing, but if you actually are doing the things that we've said in our scholarship prep guide, and also you're subscribing one to this channel so that you can get more tips and tricks, then this will be a less of a burden for you and more of an ease for you to apply and to win as much free money as possible. A couple of things to keep in mind with scholarships is how long does it take to hear back from a scholarship? Now, this varies based on different organizations because some organizations will say, hey, we're offering it. This is the deadline, and then we're going to notify, and they'll give an exact date. So, again, when you're tracking your scholarships, you want to know when that exact date is so that you can be checking your emails and making sure that you're not missing anything. Also, if you need to follow up, let's say you didn't hear back from an organization, do you just assume you didn't get it? Well, no, you shouldn't just assume you didn't get it. How many of us have actually made an error and sending the email to the wrong person? I'm putting both hands up, okay? So that's important. And so you want to make sure that you're following up the organization and say, I know that you said that you will be notifying on this date. I just wanted to check to see if I was a recipient of your scholarship. That way they can tell you up front, like, no, unfortunately you were not, or yes, we sent out an email and I guess you had the wrong email, right? So you just want to make sure that you are doing that due diligence. But generally, scholarships typically take 6 to 8 weeks to respond after the deadline. So after that deadline is set, most scholarships are going to take 6 to 8 weeks to review and to notify their recipient. So please be mindful of that. Also, something you should be in mind is that some scholarships require, in order for you to be recipient of that scholarship, you also have to attend maybe a dinner or a gala that they're throwing because they want to celebrate the winners. So you want to see that. If you see that for your, especially for local organizations, they tend to do this. You want to see what that date is for that a gala or that event. You want to block off your calendar for that for a tentative date So that way you can make that. Some of them might even not even tell you the amount that you're going to win until the actual event. And so you want to make sure that you are being proactive and you are taking the time to be in full attendance for those local events. Now, is this just for students within the US? Can I get a scholarship if I'm coming into the country, or if can I get a scholarship outside of the country? There are scholarships for different things, but every scholarship is going to be very clear about who can apply and who the scholarship is for. So they might say you have to be a US citizen, or you can be a DACA student, or you can be an international student. Now, if you are a current US student and you're looking to go to school outside of the country, that's also a little bit tricky because now we're talking about organizations that are going to have to transfer their money into the whatever school or program that you're going to outside of the country. So there's going to be less opportunities to see that. Most of the scholarships that are offered in the country are going to be for students attending school in the country. So please make sure that you're, again, reading the information and then you're being fully aware of that. How do we get this money, right? How do you get this free scholarship money? Is there anything I need to be doing when I receive the scholarships? The majority of scholarships, I'm talking about 90% of scholarships, are going to send it directly to the school that you are choosing. So they're going to ask you where you are attending, your final decision where you're attending. So if you change your mind right beforehand, they're going to verify that first before they send a check to the school. That school is then going to verify you as actually being a student who's enrolled in the school. If they are receiving money that's not for a student who's not enrolled, they will return it back to that scholarship organization. So it's important for you to make sure that you are enrolled, that you are one being eligible for that scholarship as well. And just note that you're going to be the first one to be notified if you won the scholarship. So you should be communicating with your financial aid office at your school about you receiving or having a scholarship coming in. Again, this is where that tracking comes into play. And so you want to make sure that you are staying on track of how much money you're supposed to be receiving and when you're supposed to be receiving it. Now, there are some scholarships who will send you a check personally for you to use for school. Most likely, they're going to ask you for a receipt for that to verify that you did use it for educational expenses. So, but that is all for scholarships. We hope that this was great. This is a basic scholarships 101 for all of you who are now considering applying for scholarships, or you're not even considering, you are all heads in. And I really hope that you are, because we are not going to just take on student loan debt for this year. So thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and subscribe and share with someone that might benefit from this information. And I will see you next week.